Miradi supports two ways of completing a target viability analysis. You can complete a simple viability analysis or a KEA or key ecological attribute-based target viability analysis. Here we're showing under the Situation Assessment tab on the Situation Model Diagram page, with your targets included as green ovals on the right here. You can see immediately this coral reef target is using the key ecological assessment mode. It's got the purple triangle for an indicator with the green KEA symbol. And if we scroll down, you can see that the mangroves target uses the simple viability mode. It just shows an indicator with a plus sign, which means it has multiple indicators, but since there's no green key, it is not using the KEA mode for target viability. Now, all of the details for your target viability assessment can be developed here in diagram mode. So if you click on a target and open the diagram properties panel, you can see here that you can select which mode you want to use for target viability assessment. And if you click on the purple indicator target, you can see both the two KEAs that have been developed as well as indicators. Note that in this view, you can also add new key ecological attributes. And for each key ecological attribute, you can add new indicators. Note that you can also copy indicators and KEAs from other targets if you have similar KEAs and indicators that are already developed. So you can complete all this work and see all the viability analysis here in diagram mode, but we're going to switch over to the target viability tree view in order to show you how to develop the target viability content. So this is the same content that was developed and is visible in the diagram mode. So you'll see here you've got the name of the project, and then you've got all of the targets, including all your conservation targets as well as your human well-being targets, are listed here on the left. And both their current status and their desired future status related to their viability is listed in this tree. I'll show you how to complete the individual or the simple viability first. So if we go to the mangroves target, which we know that is using the simple viability mode, if you expand using this drop down arrow here, you can see that there is one goal that has been developed for this target. And you can see that we have both an example indicator from a previous demo as well as an indicator that is fully developed. So in this view for mangroves, if you click on this three-dot menu, the ellipses here, you can add goals, but you can also add indicators. So if we want to add an indicator, let's call it indicator X, and this is our demo indicator. You can then define number of examples. You can define the unit, you can develop the details, you can give it a priority and develop additional content for that indicator. Let's save that indicator, and you'll see here that we have all of the details for that indicator. It's now listed under our mangroves as one of the indicators used to assess the viability of this target using the simple mode. Once you've developed the details for that indicator, you can enter measurements here, as many measurements as you want to, and you can also define one or more desired future status points for that indicator. You can also, for any indicator in target viability, identify related objectives and goals, as well as the actions and outputs that are related to that indicator. So once you have a set of indicators defined for a target that's using the simple viability mode, you'll need to manually enter the viability status. So in Miradi, if you're using the simple viability mode for targets, all of the information about both the current viability status as well as the future viability status needs to be manually entered. It is not calculated from the ratings of your indicators. So if you forget this, note that there's always information at the top of each of these panels. If you expand the Show More button, there's an explanation here about how the viability status ratings work. So again, since we're using the simple mode for this particular target, we need to manually go in and enter the rating. Our example here, this target is currently in poor status, and we're looking for a future status of good. Ideally, you would also enter the status justification and narrative text down here. Now, in contrast to the simple viability mode, let's show an example for completing a full KEA-based or key ecological-based target viability assessment. So let's go to the coral reefs target, and you can see that it's using the key attribute mode. the big difference here is that if you come down to the viability status, the target viability, and again, it's explained here under the Show More button, the target viability is calculated based on the status of the indicators you've developed for this target. So you'll see that I'm not able to edit the target viability current status or the target viability future status for this target since we're using the key ecological attribute mode. I can enter text or narrative justification of the current and the future status, but the ratings themselves are calculated based on the health of the indicators. So let me show you what that looks like. So again, we've selected up here, key attribute mode. If we expand on the left, we can see that there's a goal developed for the coral reefs, and we have 2 KEAs, each with 1 indicator. Now that viability status is calculated based on the health of all of these indicators under these KEAs. So to create a KEA for a target, in this menu, you would use the 3 dots, and I can create a new KEA, new demo KEA. I can give it an ID, detail. In order to be included in the roll-up of the viability status for this target, you need to specify the type for the KEA. So if I leave it as not specified, the KEA and the associated indicators will not be included in the roll-up for this target's viability. I need to choose one of these 3 types, either size, condition, or landscape context. I'm going to leave it as not specified since we're just doing this as a demo. Now I have a new demo KEA here to work with. You can see it shows up in this menu as my 3rd KEA. Then just the same as we use the 3-dot menu, the ellipses menu to add key ecological attributes for the target, we're going to use the ellipses to add indicators for this demo KEA. So we add an indicator. This is my new demo indicator. And then I will also define the unit. Let's see, number of KEA indicators. It's just a count. Again, I can assign a priority rating, add comments, evidence notes, and describe the indicator in more detail if I would like to. Once I have identified the indicator, you'll notice that these indicators that are associated with a parent KEA, you can also define the condition bins or the viability rating categories for this indicator. So the condition bins of poor, fair, good, very good are preset in Miradi, but you get to define what they mean. This unit information is pulled from the summary information I created above for the indicator. And then I can access all of this information by using the editor pencil here. So what you can see is I have the space to define the values, either quantitative or qualitative, for each of these rating bins. And I'm not going to do that here, but I'm going to show you what it looks like for an example that's already been developed. So let's go back up to the KEA area of coral reef and the associated indicator, % of appropriate areas covered by healthy coral reef. And what you'll see here, let's go back up to the summary. Here's the name and here's the unit. The unit is the % of area covered. If I go to the viability ratings, you can see we've defined 4 categories for the health of this indicator. So for the poor category, we've said that the value range for that indicator is less than 50% of the area covered by healthy coral reef. All the way up to very good would be greater than 90% of the area covered by healthy coral reef. You can use the details section to provide more information about what you mean by each of these categories, and then you can identify where that information came from, what type of information is it, as well as capture comments and any notes about the evidence you're using. So once you've defined those viability rating bins, then when you enter the measurements for your indicator, as well as the desired future status, you need to manually identify what the associated rating category is. So you'll recall that in our rating category above, we said that below 50% area was poor, and I think, what was it, 51 to 70 is fair. So if we add a new value, today's date, let's say it's going up a little bit, but it's still only 69% of the area covered. That's going up, so let's identify there's a mild increase here, and let's say this is a rapid assessment. So you'll see that we've just entered a new rating, which shows up here. So you can see there's a mild increase from the previous couple of years. All of the details are entered here, but we still haven't reached our desired future status of 80. If I expand the indicator chart above, I can see the ratings that I've entered, as well as the rating bins, poor, fair, good, very good, here on the chart. Once you've completed your viability information, again, if I've defined the type for the KEA here, then that will be rolled up to calculate the overall health for the target. So for this target, the calculated health is good, and the future status is calculated as good as well. Those values can be seen here in this chart, and if we go back to the situation model and look at the diagram, you can see that our coral reefs are rated as good, whereas the mangroves that we were working with before, their current status is rated as poor. And just to note that you can see all the same information and work with all the same information here in diagram view. If I click on the target and I go to the details, note that I can see all of the same and edit all of the same information for the target. I can also see and edit all of the same information for the KEAs and for the associated indicators, including defining and updating the rating bins, as well as tracking all of the measurements and future status and seeing the indicator chart.